Maria is just the best. She is salt of the earth, is just such a kind and warm human being. She loves people, and it shows.
I was born in a town called Far Rockaway, New York, and it is a beach town, and it was also a place where there was a lot of poverty, but the ocean was kind of my sanctuary, so I spent a lot of time there as I was growing up. I was living in Washington, D.C., and doing a lot of political work for women and indigenous populations, and had 3 children, and really felt like I wanted my children to make sure that they understood what it is to live with tradition and not just being an advocate for traditional ways, but to actually understand what it is to grow up with tradition. And so we wanted to raise them on some land where we could practice their ceremonial practices. And we headed west and found this piece of land here in Colorado and homesteaded it, lived there in a teepee for years, and grew our own vegetables, raised animals, and built a house, raised kids there. And that's here in southern Colorado at the base of the Oaxatoyas, or the Spanish Peaks. I have always had a special fondness for community colleges. Was a community college student myself, and have just loved the work of community colleges and how we can impact communities, particularly populations that don't have access to education. So I've had lots of jobs, some of which I got paid for and some of which I didn't. I've been a midwife and helped to work with legislators to legalize midwifery in the state of Colorado. I was a tribal spokesperson for Piscataway Indian Nation, traveling storyteller, cultural presenter, ran a tribal office, worked as a high school counselor for an impoverished school district here in Colorado, worked as a career coach, documented human rights violations in the Philippines, in El Salvador, and in Guatemala, workshops, helping to establish Native ceremonial practices in prisons. So I was involved with the Repatriation Act to have remains returned to tribal entities for reburial. A common goal that has linked all of those positions I've held in life has been to just make a pathway for humanity. I think on a larger scale, one of the things that my family does is we conduct indigenous ceremony for our peoples, and I say our peoples meaning all people, to just try to live a better way, not just physically or mentally, academically, but also emotionally, and just on a humanitarian level, are we doing the best that we can to take care of each other, take care of our planet? And so my overwhelming goal in life is to just do all that I can every day, on every level, to just make the world a better place. And I know that sounds pretty cliche in some ways, but application is everything, and there's a lot of work to be done. My chief has always said we really need to live our lives thinking about the 7th generation to come and the 7th generation past. For those that have passed, are we making them proud? Are we living such a life that we're making them proud? Their children's children's children. And for the generations to come, are we setting down a solid foundation? Probably the greatest accomplishment I think I can say that I have tucked in my belt is just having 5 amazing children, and who all do such wonderful things. That is one of my greatest joys, is seeing my children. And And I have 10 grandchildren and number 11 on the way. Family has just always been there through thick and thin, ups and downs. We've just managed to keep each other on track and doing what we can to impact our communities.
At least once a year, whether it's for her birthday or for Christmas, I buy her a set of reading glasses. I buy a set for myself and I buy a set for her. Because if you've worked with her long enough, you will see that sometimes she is wearing glasses that only have one arm or might be taped in the middle. And it's something we have in common, always searching for our reading glasses and trying to find a good pair. So when I buy a set for me, I buy a set for her.
Maria is just a great colleague. She is always there whenever I have needed to call and ask for help. She's a great problem solver, and her expertise and her knowledge of her area in business and technology is really broad and extensive. You know, she's inventive, and she is able to come up with solutions to things and to think through the consequences and the options and to help walk me through, you know, all the options that we need to think through.
She drafted and wrote safety plans so that we could keep all of our programs active and in person. She collaborated with the department chairs to find solutions. As everyone knows, during this time, it was one problem and one barrier and one limitation after the next. And I think that really she could be attributed with keeping the continuity of education and service available in our division.
I never looked at what was hardest. I always looked at how we can move forward. If there is something that I could achieve here at PCC, it would be to increase our graduation rate. I'd like to see 90% of our students who walk through the door walk away with a certificate or degree, knowing that they're going to improve their lives. If that's one thing I could accomplish, twinkling my nose or whatever, that would be a good one. It's always interesting to see what Creator may have in store for us, and you know, my prayer has always been, Creator, use me to do your work, and I'm always amazed at where that takes me.